Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. General diploma examinations for the first term of the second scholastic year 2016-2017 start in all governorates of the Sultanate. With the increased demand during the holy month of Ramadan, the prices of agricultural products vary in the markets of the Sultanate. And at least 27 people are killed in 2 suicide bombings by Daesh militants in Baghdad. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. General diploma exams for the first term of the second scholastic year 2016-2017 started today in all governorates of the Sultanate. The Ministry of Education finished its preparations for the exams through providing 345 centers. Committees were formed to follow up maintenance and readiness of centers in various directorates, general and departments of education in the governorates. The ministry said that students in grade 5 to 10 finished their final exams last Sunday, while students in grade 11 will finish the last exam next Thursday. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth stressed that the companies, merchants and transporters dealing with agricultural products should attach a certificate mentioning that they are free of pesticide residues. These certificates should be obtained from specialized government laboratories or internationally accredited laboratories so as to ensure the quality and safety of the product for the health of the consumers. Due to the high demand of vegetables and fruits in the holy month of Ramadan, active purchase movement is being witnessed by Mawadah Central Market for fruits and vegetables. To avoid raising prices during these days, the management of the market, in coordination with concerned bodies, determined the prices of some types of vegetables and fruits. It also will monitor these prices in the market. Inspection campaigns were also made to some cold stores and shops in the market to ensure good hygiene for vegetables and fruit storage. A team of surgeons from the Royal Hospital, led by Dr. Riyaz Ahmed, with the assistance of anesthetics and nursing staff, have performed the first of its kind transoral endoscopic thyroidectomy in the Sultanate. This approach enabled the removal of thyroid gland tumors through the mouth from 2 patients without using the conventional transcervical approach that requires surgical intervention through the back of the neck. This approach has many advantages compared to the other standard thyroid operations, such as avoidance of surgical interventions through the neck, and complications are much less. Furthermore, the patient can go home next morning and practice his normal life after 2 days from the surgery. His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed No'mani, Minister of Royal Office, met with His Excellency Abdul Malik bin Abdul Jalil Al Mukhlafi, Deputy Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister of Yemen, and his delegation. During the meeting, they reviewed bilateral relations binding the Sultanate and Yemen and issues of common concern. Still to come in our news bulletin. The Trust and Enabling Forum is held in the Governorate of North Bulletin. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. An urgent humanitarian assistance from across the world was called on to contain the spread of a new round of cholera epidemic in Sana'a, Yemen. More details in the following report by Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubai.
A senior United Nations official says treatable diseases like cholera could ravage Yemen this year without an increase in aid and an end to the two-year-old civil war. Jamie McGoldrick, the United Nations humanitarian chief in Yemen, indicated that poverty and diseases are visibly spreading amid the havoc of war.
Well, I mean, the cholera is a consequence of the collapse of systems, the health systems, and the ability for people to cope. People don't have purchasing power. So all of that is sort of compacting already a difficult situation. The conflict is there. So those are the two drivers of people's misery. And what's happening on the ground is that because of the lack of garbage collections, hospitals are not working, people not able to buy good, clean water. And the rainy season, all of that's just basically come to a situation where cholera breaks out.
He spoke in the Jordanian capital of Amman after a recent trip to Yemen. He says that people in Yemen are dying unnecessary, preventable deaths in quiet corners of villages. He mentions that the United Nations $2 billion Yemen aid program for 2017 is less than 20% funded. He also says that runaway poverty and continued fighting ensures the worst is yet to come. According to Yemen's Ministry of Health statistics, 19 out of 22 provinces have been threatened by the cholera outbreak in the second round of epidemic, which began on April 27. More than 50,000 affected and suspected cases and 478 deaths were reported. The sanitary conditions in Yemen is very serious. The number of cases surpassed 38,000 by May 24th. This was reported by Dr. Umar Saleh. With almost two-thirds of its population facing severe hunger and possible famine, Yemen is facing the largest humanitarian crisis in the world and requires immediate humanitarian support. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television.
Suicide bombings claimed by Daesh group killed at least 27 people in Baghdad, officials said today, as Iraqi forces fight to retake the last militants-held areas in Mosul. In the deadliest of the two attacks, a suicide bomber detonated an explosive rigged vehicle at a popular ice cream shop at around midnight, killing at least 16 people and wounding 75. In the second attack, the Baghdad Operations Command said that a suicide bomber blew up a bomb-rigged vehicle near the country's main pension office, which is close to one of the principal bridges over the river Tigris. It added that the attack killed at least 11 people and wounding at least 40. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said today Russia welcomes U.S. engagement in Syria. Addressing reporters in Moscow, he added that the recent agreement on de-escalation zones in Syria was continuing and will be discussed at an upcoming meeting in the Kazakh capital, Astana. On the ground, more airstrikes and artillery shelling hit the northern Syrian city of Raqqa as U.S.-backed fighters pushed closer to the extremist stronghold. The developments come ahead of what is expected to be a major battle for Raqqa in the coming weeks. Airstrikes have intensified over the past days as U.S.-backed fighters have pushed on toward the city, getting closer to it from all sides. Cyclone Mora battered Bangladesh today, killing 5 people, damaging thousands of homes and ripping through a camp housing thousands of Rohingya refugees who had fled violence in Myanmar. Authorities said they evacuated nearly 600,000 people from vulnerable areas before the storm hit the coastal district of Cox's Bazar, bringing winds of up to 135 kilometers per hour. Disaster management authorities said 5 people had been killed, 4 of them crushed by falling trees in the area. In Cox's Bazar, at least 17 homes had been damaged in the district, with many low-lying villages inundated by a storm surge reaching 4 feet. Tens of thousands of people were marooned by severe flooding and mudslides in Sri Lanka remained in relief camps today, as 8 teams bolstered by Indian Navy divers and doctors pushed forward with rescue efforts. At least 194 people have been killed and nearly 100 are missing following the rains that began swamping the southern and western areas of the Indian Ocean island nation last Friday. The weather has begun to clear, and many of the more than 100,000 people who evacuated over the weekend had returned home to begin clearing debris and mud from their waterlogged homes. The Indian contingent of more than 300 Navy personnel was assisting in the relief, with divers searching the brackish waters and medical teams seeing patients in makeshift tents set up at shelters. A third Indian naval ship arrived today bringing relief supplies including rice, lentils, sugar, milk, and blankets for the displaced. The United Nations, Australia, and Pakistan also donated supplies including water purification tablets and tents, and the United States and China also pledged relief. The Sultanate's toll revenues increased in the first quarter of this year to 1.7 billion Omani riyals, compared to 1.5 billion Omani riyals during the same period of last year. According to statistics issued by the Ministry of Finance, the state's general budget deficit declined to 1.5 billion Omani riyals in the first quarter of the year, compared to 1.7 billion riyals in the same period of the last year. The Ministry of Housing approved more than 50 schemes in various governorates of the Sultanate during the first quarter of this year. The ministry, through these schemes, provided 23,000 land plots for various uses. The biggest percentage of these lands were approved in the governorate of Dakhiliya, with 8,082 land plots, followed by the governorate of Bahira, with 4,577 land plots. A forum entitled Trust and Enabling was held in the governorate of North Batna. It focused on the significance of the modern technologies in the educational process, as well as the latest concepts related to school management. It also shed light on an experiment by a basic education school in the governorate, which was successful in applying the idea of management through trust and enabling. This experiment was considered helpful in enhancing the education process and other tasks within the school building. The forum also reviewed the school's other projects and activities. Here are the Ramadan times for tomorrow. Fajr prayers are at 3:54 a.m. Maghrib prayers at 6:54 p.m. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the governorate of Dhofar. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies. Winds will be westerly to northwesterly, light to moderate. Seas will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. General diploma examinations for the first term of the second scholastic year 2016-2017 start in all governorates of the Sultanate. With the increased demand during the holy month of Ramadan, the prices of agricultural products vary in the markets of the Sultanate. And at least 27 people are killed in 2 suicide bombings by Daesh militants in Baghdad. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.